This is a Bulldog Radio podcast.
Perfect.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Today I'm here with my buddy Bear. We're going to talk about NFL, NBA today, so let's get right into it. What are your opinions on the Thursday night game between the Giants and Patriots yesterday?
So I'm not going to lie to you. Danny Dimes had us in the first half. He, honestly, the Giants defense was stopping them. The Patriots, they definitely didn't feel like they were a Super Bowl contender in that first half. But then Timeless Tom, out of nowhere, shows them, leads the way to a 6-0 start for the Patriots. And, it's Boston fans. They got it too easy, man.
I mean, I can't lie. I'm a Tom Brady fan, but this has been the easiest path we've ever had. Like, this 6-0 team, we haven't played anybody. The Giants are bad. The Redskins are terrible. And the Dolphins, I don't even know how they're an NFL team. They're so bad this year.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty happy with the start. Daniel Jones has impressed me so far, but yesterday was just a bad game. 15 of 31, 161 yards, 1 TD, and 3 interceptions, and the fumble. So he wasn't that good. But Brady, I mean, he didn't. That was the first game since 2008 at home where he didn't have a touchdown, but he ran for 2. So the old man still, had it.
Yeah, and then for the fantasy aspect of it, the Patriots defense continued to roll. They have just been a force on that side of the ball. I think the last 3 weeks they posted, I believe, 18 points or higher. I have them, and I've been greatly appreciative of these last 3 weeks giving me the wins. But yeah, they're crazy. I believe they have the 8th most fantasy points, combined with the, not including running backs and quarterbacks, to produce these past 5 weeks. So it's crazy, to say the least.
Sadly, I'm playing the Patriots defense this week in my fantasy league, so my friend got 28 points off the Patriots defense, so I'm not in good shape right now. But honestly, they have. I think they're arguably the best defense right now in the league. Yesterday was the first game they allowed a passing touchdown, so they've been very good, but also I admit they haven't really played a legitimate team. A lot of people are also looking at the Packers as maybe, are they the best team currently, because they've beaten the Eagles, Cowboys, and Bears, 3 playoff teams from a year ago. But I do believe when the Patriots start playing teams like the Chiefs, Texans, go through that stretch, we're going to see what they're more about. But I'm pretty confident, though, in Brady. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, he's Belichick and him. They are an elite group together. I really hope Tom comes out and gets that 7th ring, and he ends on as a GOAT, a true GOAT. So that was our Thursday night game. Being from Michigan, I'd like to talk about the Lions and the Packers. I am super excited. My teacher has already said we're getting out of class early to watch it. So, we got to contain Aaron Rodgers, and we got to stop Aaron Jones. But I feel like the Lions defense is it's going to be fully healthy. Slay's going to be back. Christian Jones is going to be back. Davis is going to have another week under him. We can just hope and pray that the offense just comes to life, for the Monday night game.
Honestly, I completely agree with you. I can't wait. I hope, we can get another win. We've started off pretty impressive right now, 2-1-1, besides, obviously the tie with the Cardinals, but Stafford's looking better. That defense is looking good. We gave arguably the best team in the league, the Chiefs, a very good game over a week ago. So I'm excited. I do believe if we beat the Packers, that will be a true statement win, because when you look at the schedule, it just didn't really seem like we were going to really do much. But if we can get this win in Lambeau, I think that will be huge. What factor do you think Kerryon Johnson will play in the game on Monday night?
So I hope to get him involved. I really hope that he is able to get things going early, as every team hopes. He's been a force. You can tell there's a difference between year one and year two. He's, knock on wood, that he has cut the fumble problems out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that fumble he had against the Chiefs, that was a 14-point swing at the 1 yard line. How does that happen?
And that play's dead, man. I watched the game. I was there live. I was screaming at the TV. I know that play was dead. You can hear the whistle clear as day. It's it's tough. That's the first knock I think that we've had on Kerryon is when he came out of Auburn that he did have some fumble issues, but now he seems to get that all behind him. And thankfully for a Lions fan, he won't never be maybe a Barry Sanders type guy, but he's definitely a consistent runner, and we're able to combine him with McKissick and get some speed on the edge. But I'm excited to see Stafford sling it. Hopefully he's going to be more healthy this week. He was battling with a hip injury, so hopefully he can throw it at a very better pace. He's thrown in some tight windows against KC, but
you see that one touchdown pass? Yeah, that was a very tight window. And I feel like he didn't get enough credit for it, because if a guy like Mahomes or Brady threw it, Twitter would have blew up.
Right, that's plastered all over ESPN.
Yeah, but he threw it in between four guys. That was a perfect throw. I'm not gonna lie, I think Galloway and Marvin Jones are gonna play a huge factor. They've been a pretty underrated duo. What's your opinion on them so far?
Yeah, honestly, you think that Galladay he's taking all the, he's getting double teams. He's getting that safety over the top. He's getting the zone coverage for, the under. They're really trying to impede him from an offensive standpoint. And so that's leaving Marvin Jones open. He is, you'll never see him. You'll never think that it's him catching the ball. But it's he comes up with it, and he's like up there, and he ends up finishing the game with like 100 yards. And you're like, well, he's not our number one receiver, but, he's the guy getting all the production. And it's good to see.
Honestly, I completely agree. I'm just very excited for this team. I think with the way how the Vikings been struggling and the Bears just losing to the Raiders, very bad loss. I think it's us and the Packers for the division, even though it's early, like you said, knock on wood. Mm-hmm. But I like what the Lions are doing so far. We've played some very good teams, and I think we're just going to keep pushing forward, and hopefully if we can get this win Monday night, that'll be very huge. It's going to be tough, though, in Lambeau. They have the Packers as a favorite, obviously, at home, but I think Stafford and them could get it done. Actually, I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think Lions 27-23 in Lambeau.
27-23 on the road. I come around to that point. I think it's going to be more of a low-scoring game. I think the Lions defense, they put out to this week, and it's 14-21 Lions in Lambeau. I think it's going to be a cold game. It's supposed to rain, so it's just going to be like classic NFC North football. It's going to be definitely good.
Now let's get into the other NFL matchups this upcoming Sunday. We also got the Browns versus Seahawks. What is your opinions on this game? Because the Seahawks, Russell Wilson's looking like an MVP candidate. 12 TDs, no interceptions so far this season. And the Browns they're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, but they've been very struggling. So how do you see that game going?
So this is the game that Baker Mayfield bounces back. Okay. This is, they had Dapgate at the start of the week. Richard Sherman, he tells him, hey, man, this guy doesn't dap me up after the coin toss. Baker doesn't say a word because he can't. He actually hasn't played. He's been played terrible this year so far. There's all this hype. They lose the Titans out of the gate. Everyone blows their mind. They're like, oh, this is crazy. Odell hasn't been. He's actually been the classic professional this year. He hasn't been running his mouth at all. Right? He was wearing the watch. He got the visor. They told him all things. He didn't make a stink about it at all. And then it's weird how him is now reduced down to where he's become a professional, and Baker has elevated up to the cocky, Oklahoma freshman, form that he was. And so it's interesting. I believe, the Browns could bounce back here. I just made a trade for OBJ in my fantasy team. I gave up 3 receivers, but, you got to... I gave up DK Metcalf, Larry Fitzgerald and Hardman, who's for the Chiefs.
Right.
And, I feel like I didn't need all those guys. And none of them were playing on my team. They're all on my bench. I figured I'd make the swing for OBJ. But, yeah, I believe the Browns get it done.
Well, I hope the trade works out for you. But I think he hasn't been getting the ball to OBJ enough. He's barely been getting catches. They just got embarrassed on Monday night, 31-3 to the 49ers, who are actually a very good team in the NFC. But I don't think they're going to pose a major threat to, like, the top teams in the NFC. But I just don't know about the Browns right now. I was buying into the hype over the season. I'm still a Baker Mayfield guy. I actually have him on my fantasy team, so I hope he does something this Sunday. But the way how Russell Wilson's playing, this is the best Russell Wilson I've ever seen. And I was going on for years saying Russell Wilson's the average quarterback because he always had a great defense. But this year, he's showing, like, no, I'm more than that. Honestly, my MVP candidates right now is Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Christian McCaffrey, who's been an absolute beast. Yeah. So I got Seattle in that game, and if I had to make a prediction, I would say 31-17.
31-17. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You're right. Russell has been out of this world. He's returning back to his, the Super Bowl form where he threw it on the goal line where they had Marshawn Lynch. But that season was it was very good for him, and I think he's learned to not run as much now. I think he's a smart guy. He's put together, but running in the NFL as a quarterback gets tough, man. Like, you can see his Wentz, he has definitely suffered multiple injuries, and that's the consistency problem for him is because he's the guy running and diving for the goal line, and then he tears his ACL. Thankfully Nick Foles comes in there and saves him for the Super Bowl win. But just running in the league, RG3, he's been out. He's on the Ravens as a backup. Yeah, he was gone. He got hurt. No one wanted to sign him. Just running in the league, I think that's where they run it more in Seattle than any other team in the NFL. And it's interesting to see how that's affected Russell. They actually have a running back now, I believe. Other than Marshawn Lynch, they have Chris Carson. They have Rashad Penny.
That's
the 1-2 punch there. Hopefully, they can stay healthy. I don't want to see him to win because I'm a Lions fan, but it's good to see Russell. He's from a Big Ten, so you gotta love him.
Now let's get into the next matchup. This is a very good one for me. Rams versus 49ers. Now, the 49ers are undefeated. The Rams are coming off back-to-back losses. Even though they're defending NFC champion, they haven't been looking the same. Todd Gurley, we still don't know what's up with him. Jared Goff hasn't really looked that great. So I don't know. Honestly, I might go with the 49ers this game. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has been very good. And they've honestly been shocking some people. So I got the 49ers, I would say 24-20, even though the game's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo and Shanahan have been great. Kittle has been a stud. They're getting Tevin Coleman back at a perfect time. This is divisional match, so they're playing within their division, and it's going to be it's not really been a rival in a long time, but it's it'll be good. I think Shanahan's got McVay's number. I think offensively right now, McVay has failed to show he is. He's behind the curve all of a sudden again. He can't get Goff to score as much. It's crazy how to see someone be such at the height of their game year 2 and then year 3 they're down here, and it's crazy. The NFL is nuts.
And the thing I don't get, since the Super Bowl, that terrible performance when they only had 3 points, they have not looked the same at all since. I don't know if Bill Belichick just put a spell on them, but they really, I agree with you, they haven't looked the same. Gurley, we still don't know if I don't know if it's just somebody impersonating him. I haven't really seen the real Todd Gurley this year. So I really don't even know if the Rams, I still believe the Rams will make the playoffs, but they don't really pose a major threat to me. I think Seattle and maybe the 49ers can make a push in the NFC this year, and the Saints are looking very good, especially with Teddy Bridgewater playing well, and they're going to get Breeze back in a few weeks. So, I honestly agree with that. I think the 49ers come up on a win, but what is your prediction for that game? Who do you believe will win?
It's tough, but I think the home field advantage is going to play to the Rams. They're rowdy fans there, going on the road. Jimmy G's been all right. He's been relying on Kittle. He has actually relied on,
that defense too. Richard Sherman had a huge pick.
The defense has been really good for them. They've had a few flukes, but having Coleman back, Burrito as your big punch, and then you still have what's his name? They have everyone. They have two running backs that at least can, come run the ball at an aggressive rate. Kittle's a good block. They have a good offensive line. That will be interesting to see, but I still think that Rams are going to edge them out, man.
Okay. So you're going with the Rams. I got 49ers. Not a bad pick because it is hard seeing the Rams lose 3 straight games, but my favorite one, the next one, I think this is honestly the game of the week on CBS, Texans versus Chiefs. So the Chiefs are coming off their first loss of the year against the Colts, and Texans are coming off of a great win. Deshaun Watson's been amazing. Only incompleted 5 passes last week. It was 28 of 33. I think this is a test of 2 young great quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson versus Pat Mahomes. I'm excited. I got the Chiefs, even though they've been struggling coming off a loss against the Colts, but I think Pat Mahomes is going to get it together, even though having 1 touchdown pass through the last 2 games after having 10 in the first 3. I think he's going to get it together, and I got the Chiefs. I think it's going to be high scoring. Yeah, I'll say 42-35.
Wow.
Both defenses are pretty bad.
Yeah, so I would definitely be hammering the over when it comes out of Caesars Sportsbook. But, Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson actually went off last week. My father actually has both of them in fantasy, and combined got him 75 points. So, it was insane to see. That's a Will Fuller thing, though. He, last year, Hopkins was hurt for a little bit, but he only gets those games like 3 times in the year. So, you pick your poison with him. It's crazy to see that the Chiefs struggled against the Colts, who had probably one of the youngest secondaries on the field at the time, barring injuries. But it's crazy that Mahomes struggled against that, and he's probably going to maybe come back to his form. He's going to light him up against Texas. But you're right. I would say I still believe the Chiefs would edge it out, though, just by a touchdown or so.
So you got the Chiefs too?
I got the Chiefs, man. You can't. Okay. Patrick Mahomes is an elite prospect, man. He's a dog. You can't.
He's only 24.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So he's only a few years older than us, and he's out here slinging the rock like it doesn't even matter.
And one thing I want to say, people keep talking about the last 2 games being so bad. Before that, his lowest scoring game was 26 points. How do you? We don't say bad things about Brady, even though they only beat the Bills 16-10. Even though I believe the Bills have a good defense, but besides the point, Mahomes has been amazing, and people get so shocked when just because they don't have 28 or 30 points, he still is winning games. I do think, even though he has an ankle injury, I believe they're going to get the job done. I'm excited for that one. And let's transition to our next game. So we got the Jaguars over Saints, and I'm honestly pretty shocked. The Jaguars actually have they're favored by 1 point. I got the Saints.
Yeah. So Minshew Mania going against Teddy Two Gloves and Taysom Hill. It's going to be interesting to see. Minshew I think he's gonna still be riding his wave, man. He's got that mustache, he's got that swag. I think he's gonna come out there, he's gonna throw the shark 3 touchdowns. The Saints, they have an okay defense. I dropped them earlier in the year. They're just I dropped them earlier for fantasy. But it's gonna see Teddy is good. The big question is, do you let both those guys, because both those guys have been winning, do you let Foles come back? Right. Or do you obviously you let Breeze come back, but do you let Foles come back after?
I think you gotta let Foles. He still is a Super Bowl MVP, And Minshew, what is he besides his mustache? He's good for just to bring more fans in. He's entertaining, but I don't know if he can help this team really do anything, especially in the AFC with all the good teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's their defense is Jalen Ramsey isn't with the Jags, so they not like their defense has lacked, but they let up more points than they probably wanted to this week, only edging the win by 8 points. So I would. If it depends how Minshew does in this last these next 4 games. If say he goes 3-1, I would say you have to keep him in there. But if he goes 2-2, I it's up to the team at that point. It's up to the coaching staff, because listening to the guys talk about him, they love him in the locker room. Yeah. And that's what you need to be as a quarterback. You need to be loved by the fans, by the team.
Minshew.
Right.
Honestly, you do make a good point, because it's kind of like in Philly when Nick Foles started winning. Carson Wentz was like, "Hey, I'm still here."
I'm still here. Yeah.
Before he got hurt, people forget Carson Wentz and the Eagles were 10-1. They were a 1 seed in the NFC, and he was on his way to winning the MVP that year. So, it honestly just depends like what's happening at the at the right time, and who basically what have you done for me lately? Who's going to win? Because Foles did win a Super Bowl, and if it wasn't for Alshon Jeffrey drop, he could have beat the Saints last year in that playoff game.
Right, and it's crazy to see that like how Foles rose to elevation for fame and started him, and within that, and then now he goes down to Jacksonville and he basically gets a taste of his own medicine, what he did to Carson, not in any spiteful way, but he gets hurt, and then Minshew steps in, and then he's now throwing dimes left and right. He's gunslinging it around the field, but it's just crazy to see how those stories develop in the NFL. But
I think that's some good stuff. So you have the Jaguars or Saints in that game as your final prediction?
I have the Jags. I'm going to ride with Minshew. I believe they're going to win, a score of maybe, they let up 34, or they let up 27 points last week. I'd say maybe it's going to be close because both defenses are not the most stellar. So I'd say maybe, I'd say a field goal, 30-33.
30-33. I'm going to have to disagree. I think it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game. I'm going to say 17-14, also by a field goal, though.
Okay.
Saints. Let's hop into our next matchup. So we got the Cowboys versus the Jets. So in my opinion, the Cowboys have lost the last 2 games. A lot of people are feeling like, since they played 2 real teams, they haven't been able to step up to the plate because they lost to the Packers and Saints. So I think it's going to be a bounce-back game for Dak, especially playing the Jets. They're pretty bad. But then again, I think it's going to be the same scenario. You're beating teams that you should beat, but can you beat the teams that matter? So I think also Zeke's going to have to play good, because when Zeke doesn't play good, he's basically the offense. Even though I'm a Dak fan, he hasn't shown he can win without Zeke, so Zeke's going to be very important.
And last week Prescott revitalized his inaccuracy issues. He could not throw. He threw 3 interceptions. Zeke couldn't run very much. It was kind of abysmal, but they're playing a Jets team. I feel so bad for Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell. They're just in the absolute crap storm of a team. I believe they get Darnold back this week. It's still up in the air if he'll play. He's got mono, so it's like, geez. But I feel bad for them. The people are calling to fire Adam Gase already, and it's terrible.
Yeah, this early.
The New York market is brutal. I know it is, but give the man a year at least to turn the team around. He hasn't had his quarterback for the past 3 games. You're throwing out a guy that you won't even expect to play. Give some time, New York, please.
I definitely agree, because it's just he already plays in a tough division with the defending Super Bowl champions, and the Jets he really doesn't have the pieces around him to be great. So it's why fire him? To you at least need to give him a chance. So I do think this is an opportunity for the Jets to show that they can hang with a pretty good team. But the Cowboys, I don't think it's just a must win, but they need to continue to play the same way every week. You can't just beat the Dolphins 31-6 and lose to the Saints 10-12.
Right, because everyone can beat the Dolphins 31-6.
The Dolphins have been awful.
They're trying to lose.
So I agree with that, and I'm going to say Cowboys. I think they're going to bounce back. I'm going to say 35-14. I think it's going to be a 3-touchdown win. And what is your prediction?
I think the Jets are so bad that it might not even be a touchdown for them this week. It might be 3 field goals, and then it's 20. It's 21. I'd say 21-9. They just don't even touch the end zone this week. I think it's all field goals for them.
Well, that's our NFL picks for the week. Now let's hop into some NBA preseason. So first, we're going to start off with the Warriors and Timberwolves, who played last night. Warriors won 143-123, and Curry had 40. So
yeah, he's definitely not off his form. You know, he's right back into the swing of things where he left off. And you know, you were talking about it earlier that, you know, this is going to be his team this year. So you're going to see, you know, Clay's not coming back for a little bit. He has Russell, but I think, you know, having just the more space and he's going to get the shots more, I think he's going to be returning back to where he was a few years ago.
I definitely agree. Like last week I said on the show, he's my dark horse for MVP this year. I think he's definitely going to win it. You know, he has the guys around him who are all unselfish. You know, Glenn Robinson III, Draymond Green. You know, D'Lo is starting to fit in the system nice. Jordan Poole. I think they're going to creep into the playoffs around the 5th or 6th seed. They're not going to be the Warriors that we've seen win the conference for the past 5 years, but I think they're going to be a good team. Curry, especially with Clay out, it's going to be more shots. So I'm excited to see them play and to see hopefully a 2016 unanimous Curry. I'm hoping to see that. So I'm excited for that team. And as far as the Timberwolves go, they've just been so up and down. I've seen Andrew Wiggins in 2016, 2017 average 23 points. Then he's had a hard time since then, averaging 16. So I really don't know. Karl Anthony Towns has so much potential, but I feel like he hasn't really shown up. So what's your opinion on the Timberwolves? I just don't see them doing much.
Well, I think Jimmy Butler broke them both. You know, you hear about the infamous practice where he takes the scout guys and beats them with the scout guys. You know,
by shooting one shot.
By shooting one shot, right? So it's interesting to see that. You know, Wiggins was so proclaimed like he was going to be like the next LeBron. Like he was coming out of high school, you know, going, you know, he's going to forego all his college stuff, and then he gets to the league and he's, you know, he did good, you know, his first year, his rookie year or whatever, but it's tough to see him just all of a sudden become like obsolete on the floor. You know, he's not a game changer like that. And then Cat, you know, people still say he's soft. Like it's terrible. Like you know, Drummond took him to town a couple years, right? Right, yeah. So it's like it's tough to see. Hopefully they'll get some more pieces coming up, but you know the question is for them: do they tank? Do they not tank? You know.
Honestly, I think you might have to tank because the West is so stacked this year. Especially
It's
now
terrible.
You got the Clippers who are a legitimate threat. Lakers, you got all these teams, the Trailblazers, the Warriors. You know, the Utah Jazz, there's different teams, the Rockets and the Spurs, you can't forget about Greg Popovich. So I think their best idea might be to tank, try to get a lottery. But it's also tough because the lottery, you know, it's not guaranteed. It's not like football where if you have the worst record, you automatically get the first pick. You know, so like, you know, I think that's going to be interesting. But, you know, we'll see what they do. Mm-hmm. But let's hop into our hometown team, the Pistons. We beat the Mavericks the other night for our first preseason win, 124-117. Blake had 17 and 27 minutes. And, really, I was very happy to see what Derrick Rose did. 18 points in 24 minutes and 5 assists. So what is your opinion on him?
Dude, he looked young, man. Like, I was pumped. Like, I was watching this in our, like, cafeteria here. I was, you know, there was people actually interested in watching this. There's people huddled around the TV. And, you know, despite it being preseason, I still get excited for it. You know, watching D Rose, you know, cut the lane, slash a little bit, do some layups. You know, it was good. He had a shot. Blake Griffin and Christian Wood, like, they were working the pick and roll all night. You know, Luke Kennard hitting contested threes. You know, it was just good to see. Like, Blake looks healthy. You know, D Rose looks healthy. You know, it seems like we, you know, could make a run here. I know it's preseason. The Mavs are no laughing matter now.
Because they got Kristaps back in. Luka Doncic has been amazing. Greg Carlisle said he wouldn't trade him for nobody in the league, which is, you know, I think he's just, you know.
Yeah, Kawhi. Yeah, so Kawhi came knocking.
I think he's just being a little bit biased right there. But, yeah, I'm excited. I think D Rose looked amazing. Honestly, I hope he starts over Reggie, even though it won't happen because he'll probably end up being a sixth man. But D Rose looked great. I think even though, like you said, it's just preseason, it could be the start of something special. And you know, honestly, what I would like to see happen with his play rising, maybe that would raise Reggie Jackson's trade stock and get somebody for him to really make an even bigger push. Because I feel like we're one guy away.
And I'm totally fine with D Rose being the sixth guy coming off the bench. You know, he's had health issues before. You know, I remember like 5 years ago, he's putting that thing out. He's like, hey man, like, I really want to play basketball, but I also want to walk my daughter down the aisle, and I can't do that because of my knees. And, you know, he's coming back now, and I think just for a health standpoint and just keep him on the team, playing him playing him on the sixth man, reduce minutes maybe, or even coming in for situational stuff, saves him for the long run. Because once we get past All-Star break, you don't have too much time before you have to start making your real playoff push. That's when I'd put him in, crank him up minutes wise.
I think that's very true. I think load management has been a huge thing now in the NBA. I think he's going to have to use some of that. So if we make a playoff push, we're going to need him for sure. I think with the way how the East is, we should hopefully be a 6th seed. So I think anything could happen. I do think the Bucks and Sixers are the top 2 teams, and Boston's going to be very good with Kemba, and the Pacers are obviously going to have Oladipo back. But then there's really more space, for improvement for us. So I think we're going to make a run. I'm excited. I think Blake, if he can, he had the best year of his career last year, 25 points a game. I think he's going to be another All-Star. Hopefully Drummond can stop shooting threes.
Oh man, that was tough. Hey, he checked, but it's tough.
He had it all backward. I was like,
it's
what are
tough,
you doing,
man. Like I've watched videos in in the pre-season, or in the training camp, or in the off season, that he was been working on them, and he shot looks wet, man. Like, but
nobody's checking him.
No, I mean he's I know there was no one around him on that one, so he really had to think it was going down.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be good to see. I know we're a little young. I was really bummed that Kyle Lowry, he got that extension. My heart broke a little bit because I was really wanting him to come link up with Casey in Detroit.
I think that would have been huge.
And there's still a possibility we can make a trade. Not that I want the Pistons to take on a $31 million contract,
especially for 1 year.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's only for 1 year. You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
The Pistons haven't been, other than the Blake thing in the past, 10 years or so.
Yeah,
they have not been like super aggressive in the trade or in the free agency period or the trade period, honestly, because we just don't have the money. Like the contracts have screwed us over the past 2 years. So Bradley, trading Bradley and Tobias away for Blake. Like, I'm super happy. At first, I was torn because I really like Tobias.
I love Tobias. I miss him all the time.
I do. He's such a good guard.
I wish there was a way we could have kept him and still got Blake, because we would have been very good. But
right.
I agree with that. Since basically trading away Billups back in 08, the beginning of the 08-09 season, it really hasn't been the same. We haven't won a playoff game in over. We lost 13 straight playoff games, and we haven't won one in 11 years since 2008. So hopefully we can get a playoff win and start something new. I think last year they were just trying to get to the playoffs to sell tickets, because we're going against the Bucks, the best team record-wise in the NBA last year. Hopefully now we can actually make a push in the playoffs. So I'm excited for that, and let's transition to our next preseason game. So last night the Nuggets beat the Los Angeles Clippers 111-91. What was your opinions on Kawhi's first preseason game as a Clipper? He only had 7 points in 11 minutes, though.
Right. So he didn't play as much as I thought he was going to. I actually watched the first bit of this game. I think the third offensive possession, Kawhi steals the ball, takes it down. He's looking smooth as all get out. Step back, switch, and he already knew that sucker was in as he let it go off his hand. I mean, he's a killer, man. But I don't think he's going to show he's not going to exert so much effort into this first part, especially in the preseason. But I think once regular season swings around, minutes are going to be up, obviously, because he's a starter. But it was good to see him out there moving again. It's weird seeing him in the Clippers uniform.
I agree. I think Kawhi's going to make a huge difference. Obviously, reigning Finals MVP. I think early on, from now until November, until Paul George gets back, he's going to really have to take the offensive load, because George is going to be obviously a huge part when he comes back. So him and Lou Will are going to have to make a push. But I think this is a great defensive team. You got Mr. 94 feet and Pat Bev. You got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George when he gets back. So that's why they're my pick. And the Nuggets are also going to be very good this year. They were the 2 seed last year. I do think they'll make the playoffs again. Jamal Murray and obviously Jokic, are going to make pushes. But I just don't see them as a threat to get to the finals, though. At most, I think they're still a second-round team. But they're a team that will make the playoffs, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. They are. The Nuggets are young, but it's tough to see. It's tough to put them against everyone. They got the 2 seed last year, I believe, right?
Yeah, they were, and they got knocked down the second round.
Right. So but they were a weak 2 seed. I just you can't go against all these powerhouses. They don't have the offensive prowess as they do as Rockets did, Warriors. It's. even Portland, despite even it's two guys and like Myers Leonard, like who can dunk, but other than that, like it's tough seeing that.
I agree because I think I said this last week. They remind me of the 2015 Hawks. Like they're a team that's very good. They might get one of the best records in the league. They're going to make a push, but like not like a push to get to the finals. So I just don't think the Nuggets are going to go very far. But I do think they'll make the playoffs. And Jokic actually, I believe, is going to make a run at MVP. I'm not picking him because I'm going with my boy Curry. That's my pick. But I could see him finishing top 5 in voting. So that's my opinion on them. And so do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, like Jokic gives like fat guys everywhere like hope because he is such an interesting person where he doesn't look like he's in any shape at all, but he's able to play like, there was a game last year where he played basically every quarter and then he played double OT and he's like he's a loaf of bread. That's what he looks like, and so the fact that he's able to go out there every night, compete at a high level, and he's a great passer, great shooter. It's interesting to see, but it's cool.
I definitely agree. In our next matchup, this game is actually happening today, the Celtics versus Magic. Even though it's preseason, I'm excited to see Kemba on the court, see how he looks with Boston. And honestly, a lot of people are starting to think Jason Tatum's a bust, but I've been a fan of Jason Tatum since day one. I think with Kyrie gone, I think Tatum's going to average 20 points a game this year. I think they'll probably play a little bit tonight, get some chemistry, but I think Tatum's going to make some noise.
So Bill Simmons put out, I agree with you, I love Tatum, but Bill Simmons put out last year an article about how he was working with Kobe last his first to transition from first to second year, and so someone had said, well, maybe the Mamba mentality doesn't work anymore, but that whole team was a mess last year. Kyrie's there, he gets hurt, they win, they go deep into the playoffs, Giannis beats them, but it's tough to see like how it's crazy to see how one person can just blow up a whole team. Kyrie obviously is a huge influencer to the NBA and to the market around it. I hope to see Tatum improve. Like I want to see a young guy succeed, man. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think he was a number 3 overall draft pick back in 2017. I think they're going to make some noise because people forget like the year when Kyrie's first year, the 2017-2018 season, Kyrie was hurt. That team was one game away from the NBA Finals, one game away from taking down LeBron. So I do think him and Brown are going to get together. I think Kyrie, he did have some personal issues, last year, obviously with his grandfather dying, so that was very understandable. And he wasn't really there all the way. And he even admitted that during the press conference media day in Brooklyn. So I understand Kyrie for that. I do wish it would have worked out better because Kyrie in Boston, I could have felt like could have won a championship. But I'm excited for him in Brooklyn. I do think him and KD will win a championship some season when Durant's fully healthy. But as far as the Celtics, still a young core. I think Kemba is going to be, I don't think he's a better player than Kyrie, but I think he's going to be a better fit in Brad Stevens' system. And Gordon Hayward, I think a full year after the recovery, he's going to make an impact. I think Boston could be a top 4 seed and make a run at the conference finals. I don't think they're good enough to make it out the East though this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not. I don't believe they're strong enough to make it out of the East, but it's definitely it's gonna be cool to see if that Kemba and then Hayward can work together, because Hayward coming back in the middle of the year, he's gruesome injury. Right. I cringed as I saw it, but he comes back. He couldn't find. It was good. Like it was good for the Boston fans to see him shooting again, dribbling again. He makes a little impact, but it was just kind of awkward seeing him on the floor because there's so many pieces part of the Celtics that oh yeah, Gordon, you can go here, but Terry, yeah, we're gonna have to sit you down.
That's another guy I actually felt bad for, Terry Rozier, who's on the Charlotte Hornets now. He was a guy who was averaging 20 points a game in the 2018 playoffs. In 2019 went down to 6 points, so that 14-point margin played a difference for him. That's why he's not even there.
Right, and Kyrie, I'm sure alphaed the crap out of him and told him, hey, this is my team, like the world's flat, I'm part of this,
Yeah.
So, but it's good to see Terry go down to Charlotte where, maybe Michael Jordan will give him some magic touch and he'll be, maybe an all-star this year. You never know.
Yeah, I'm excited for Boston, and let's hop into our next team. So since we were talking about Kyrie, let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets. My prediction for them this year, I do think they'll make the playoffs. I think Kyrie's going to sneak them in there. But without KD, I don't believe they'll win a title. But when KD returns, I believe they're going to be dangerous. I think him, Karis LeVert, the season he had before the injury, I think they're going to be insane. I think Kyrie is really going to show he's still arguably the most skilled point guard in the NBA. So I think Kyrie's going to have a very good year, and he's going to show that he is a leader. It just, things didn't work out in Boston, but I believe you're going to see the 2016 Kyrie in the NBA Finals against the Warriors this year.
Yeah, and the Nets. I believe the Nets won last night against the Lakers. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, won by 3. And Twitter was the beef. It was real.
Yeah.
They say, well, this is the warning message. And the Lakers fans are like, no, well, this is just the preseason. Don't worry about it. But I'm gonna see. It's gonna be cool to see those fan bases fight it out throughout the year because they're gonna be tied forever, honestly. So it's it's gonna be good to see. I think this NBA season is gonna be pretty fun. It's Kawhi is, as we mentioned in the last podcast, he broke the whole system of, hey, I'm gonna link up with this team. I'm gonna link up with these guys so we can build a super team. Where he could have went to LA, or could have went to the Lakers, and instead went to the Clippers, recruited Paul George. It's good to see that he's evened out basically the power in the NBA.
I agree with that because I would say as an NBA fan over the summer, I was nervous. If Kawhi would have went to the Lakers, you might as well just cancel the 2019-2020 NBA season because it would have been nothing to talk about. Hand them the championship. A reigning Finals MVP in Kawhi, 27. LeBron, who still looked as the best player in the league, and AD, who's by far the best big man, and fully healthy, 28 and 12 and 5. So I think that would have just handed them. That would have been more dangerous, in my opinion, than maybe the Warriors with KD because it's too much firepower. So I am happy he balanced out the NBA. I think it's just still crazy. After winning a championship, you leave. He won in another country, but he didn't want to go back home, so that's understandable. But I believe Kawhi said he wouldn't have went to the Clippers if they didn't trade for Paul George, so he wanted a super team.
Right. And I not to say like when the Warriors and the Cavs went to the 3 straight finals that it was boring, but you knew what was going to happen. And so it was either going to be, there was only 2 people you could really care about. Like Pistons basketball sucked, so you're not really looking at them to make any moves. But you want to see a dark. That's the beauty about March Madness is you never who's going to be up there, but the craziest stuff happens because it's one game and you just play in like that whole weekend, and then it's tied down to the next weekend. But it's tough to see like. It's tough to just be around like the NBA when you know what's going to happen. It's the same thing over and over, and that's like the beauty of what Kawhi did is he's made more parity in the league, which what every fan loves is to see maybe there's a chance for my team, not just it's the Warriors, it's the Cavs. You don't want to see that anymore. You want to see variety at the top of the mountain.
I definitely agree with that. I think Kawhi definitely made it more balanced. He ended basically 3 dynasties. When he won the championship with the Spurs, that ended the Heat, and honestly, like the Spurs really winning championships. Then he ended the Warriors. So I am happy he did that because Durant was already kind of on his way out. Then after they won, he was like, yeah, I'm definitely going. So I think he definitely created more parity, like you said, and now it's just more teams. Because before, I would say the past 3 NBA seasons since Durant made that decision, July 4th, 2016, I believe since then, when that happened, it was really only just 2 choices. You had the Cavs and Warriors, but now you have about close to 6 or 7 teams that can legitimately win it. So I am happy for that. Like I said, I think this is going to be the most competitive season since 2015, 2016, and it's going to be a great year. I'm very excited for this season, see what happens, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's good to see that like all the sports are tying up. In college here especially, baseball's wrapping up. I'm not a big baseball guy. I just can't. It's too long of a game or whatever. But NFL's in full swing. NBA's starting to pick up. So those are the 2 that like you match together. Hockey is now starting up. So all 3 sports start at this time, and
October's one of the best months, man.
It is. It's the greatest. You have hope for all your Detroit sports teams. Not the Tigers. They're horrendous right now.
Yeah, we're rebuilding.
We're at big rebuild season. So the Wings look good. The Pistons look good. The Lions, the boys in blue giving me some hope. Maybe. Well, we'll see how they do Monday night. But yeah, October hands down is probably one of the best sports month.
I definitely agree with that. And let's hop into one more NBA team, the Los Angeles Lakers. You can't leave out LeBron when we talk about NBA. So my opinion on them, I do believe they'll make the Western Conference Finals. My predictions are going to lose in 6 or 7 to the Clippers and Kawhi. But I think LeBron, this is one of his best teams since, since the 2016-2017 Cleveland roster. I believe with AD, I actually think Dwight's going to do something. Kyle Kuzma's going to step up. Rondo, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, Alex Caruso.
Oh my dude, Alex Caruso all-star this year. I can feel it. I can feel it. All the white guys out there who come off like the guy looks like he plays at a YMCA.
I know, he looks like he works at GameStop or something. Like he really does give guys around the world hope. I love Alex Caruso.
Yeah, but, I know they make mixtapes for him. It's the greatest.
I'm excited for them though. I do think they can make a run, and it'll be interesting to see how the Staples Center is. But I do like with LeBron. He's starting to show even more leadership at year 17. He said they're going to run the offense through AD. He knows he's getting older, so I think AD is going to really take over this year. He actually could be MVP candidate too.
Yeah, I agree with you that both Lakers and the Clippers are going to go to the Western Conference Finals. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a Game 7. I think it's going to be a 50-50. Whoever wants it more. Right. Barring injury, George, Kawhi going to be there. Pat Bev, as you mentioned. So hopefully Lou will. He's hopefully that they all stay healthy. The same goes for the Lakers, AD. I mean, all of them, Lake and LeBron. I just hope that it would be great to see NBA wise because watching the Trailblazers and the Warriors last year was tough because you knew what was going to happen. Right, you knew what was going to happen, and you thought that maybe the Trailblazers they had a chance that they get them in the first half, and then the Warriors come out third, and they drop 40 in the third quarter, and then they're gone. The Trailblazers can KD. Right, and the Trailblazers can never come back from that. You feel for Lillard and you feel for McCollum, but. It's tough. That's the greatest thing about this is there's more parity in the year. And
that is one thing I wanted to touch on with KD leaving. When the Warriors swept him last year in the 2019 Western Conference Finals, it was just he had no choice because everyone knew they didn't already need him. But I feel like he didn't know that, especially after he left when he said he knew he was never going to be one of the guys there. It's that's what we were saying from the beginning. You shouldn't have went there. He should have either tried to make it work in OKC or went somewhere else. He went to the team that beat him that won 73 games. So I think he finally just hit that, and I was like, thank you, because it's more parity. It's more fun for us fans to watch it.
Absolutely. And, you'd even see interviews throughout the season where they're all 4 of them are lined up. Clay's got a brain dead body language face, and then KD's not laughing. It's just you can feel the tension. You can feel it. You're not there, but you can sense it between everyone.
Happy, especially with the Draymond situation like that. When that happened, I kind of figured he was going in. When he's walking on the court, you can kind of see he's just mouthing the words. That's why I'm out. So I just kind of figured he was going to leave. I don't know. He got his. I think after he won in 2017, he was hoping to get that treatment LeBron got when he beat the Thunder and won his first ring in Miami back in 2012. But it wasn't the same thing because LeBron didn't go to a team that just beat him. He formed a team to beat Boston.
Absolutely, and I think there was still some animosity towards the team doctors. He says there wasn't, but they were. Steve Kerr had to have been telling him, "Hey man, we really need you." As his right calf just explodes on the 3-point line.
I laughed when I saw it on ESPN calf strain. I was like, bro, we knew it.
You know it was an ACL. So it was done. He was done, and then Clay falls apart. So that finals is interesting. It was good to see Toronto win, and then Kawhi. He's still one of those 2 free throws at the end. Yeah. He wants everything. So he's a gamer and stuff, but. You're right. KD going back to the Nets is definitely good. He tried to mimic LeBron's path. It just didn't work out. You're right. He went to the team that beat him, and he formed a super team.
And definitely, like you said, I think with especially Durant missing most of the finals, it made it more competitive. Because I do believe if Durant would have played, the Raptors wouldn't have won the championship. Even though I'm a Kawhi guy too, I can admit that because the minutes he played in that Game 5, he had 11 points. He made 3 straight threes. Mm-hmm. So I do, you can see the difference there when he was just walking up the court just shooting. So it was definitely more competitive. I'm just really excited just to see what's going to happen, and I do believe the Warriors are still going to be fine. I think this is also a great opportunity for them to show, hey, we won a championship before Durant came back in 2015, and we also set the record for most wins in a single season the year after that in 2016. So I think it's an opportunity for them to show, just in case some people forgot. So I'm excited for them, and I think it's going to be good. So what's your prediction on them, too, this year? Do you think the Warriors are going to just show what they've been doing?
So Curry had made a joke that they're going to try to break their record again at their media day, and there's a
73 wins.
Right. There's a video of Jordan Poole, a Michigan man, laughing in the background. So, it's a possibility. I don't think they're going to hit to 73, but I definitely feel like they are going to they're either going to make it to the Western Conference Finals or they're going to be outed by either Kawhi or LeBron. Just the firepower there is unmatchable from both teams. So it'll be interesting to see. You can see how fast they catch fire. There's probably still going to be that third quarter team when Klay comes back. They have Draymond, the backpack shooter, shitting on the 3-point line.
Exactly.
Right, but they add Poole, who's was a consistent shooter at Michigan, but it's going to be interesting to see how they work with the new pieces they have.
Yeah, definitely. I think D'Lo's going to help too. I'm excited to see what they do. I do think it's going to be a 5th or 6th seed, at least until they get Klay back. Because also, if they had Klay, they might have won the championship last year the way he was playing. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. And I do think Curry and all of them they should get more respect than what they're being get right now. So, I definitely agree with that. And let's talk about a team that we haven't really talked about today, the Houston Rockets. They're getting a lot of buzz right now because Harden and Westbrook back reunited, best buddies since they were kids. I do think they're going to be a very good team. I do think they'll actually be a top 3 seed in the West this year, but I just don't see them beating the Clippers or Lakers. But Harden and Westbrook, I just don't know how much they can coexist. I do believe it can be for the regular season, but I want to see Harden do something in the postseason. The last few postseasons, he's just been eliminated. It's a team's game, but it's kind of been a little bit his fault. This past season against the Warriors, shot 9 of 30 in the last game. The year before that, he was a big part of missing 27 straight threes when he shot 2 of 13 from the 3-point line, and they blew a 3-2 lead. Then the year before that, he scored 10 points against the Spurs when they lost in 6. So I got to see him do it in the postseason to be a believer.
Right, and the big issue coming out of there is ball hand, like who gets the ball most. And, it's Harden's team, but Westbrook is usually just he's a stubborn guy. So
and a stat patter.
He is a stat patter. So either he's just going to be passing it back to Harden and he's just going to try to get all the assists, or Russ is going to drive the lane every time. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, like Russ could be slowing down. He has been on a downward trend stat wise before he had like that massive year.
That's true. He actually shot in the 60s from the free throw percentage, and he's an 80% free throw shooter for his career. So.
Right. So you maybe see like the driving, the slashing body mentality that he has, like, is taking a toll on his body for sure. It's like football where you're getting hit so many times as a running back. It's why they're out of the league so much. The coming down from a dunk. I never been able to dunk in my life, but Vince Carter said it hurts the most, so I got to take his word for it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how he, him and Harden work together on an offense. I believe like Daryl Morey has like put together a pretty good game plan for him. Yeah,
he definitely did. I think that was a good trade, getting rid of CP3 for Westbrook, getting a younger guy. Even though I felt like CP3 worked great in that system, it's just, I don't know, it just didn't really work with him and Harden. I do think Westbrook does pose in a good match with Harden in a way because they have played together before, but they're just so ball dominant. I think that's what's going to keep them from winning a championship, but they're still going to be a very good team, Westbrook and Harden. And I mean, I'm excited, for them, but I definitely don't think Westbrook will have a triple-double this year, having to share the load with Harden. But I do still think Harden's going to get over 30 a game because I think Westbrook's going to realize, we're going to have to run through Harden because Harden is arguably the best one-on-one player in the league. Not a lot of guys can check him, so.
Yeah, and he's showcasing the one-legged three-pointer now.
Yeah,
so
he showed it off in the preseason.
Right,
man.
so he, maybe he's stay woke. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe he's going to, that's the new move for everyone. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. And our next team, let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. I have them last week. I said I have them coming out the Eastern Conference. I think Giannis, reigning MVP, is going to get them back together. Even though they did lose Michael Brogdon, that's going to hurt. But adding Kyle Korver, Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, now they got Wesley Matthews. I think it's going to be fun. I think they're going to be definitely around 50-55 wins and come out the East this year. That's just my opinion.
Right. No, you're right. I think Giannis is hungry. He's on a mission. They lost a few guys, but definitely, it's easier playing in the East than it is in the West. That's what it's been for, I think the last 8 years or so. You're right. I think third seed is perfect for them. I'm sorry. You said first seed?
Yeah.
Yeah, first seed is good for them. I just don't see anyone who's really going to check them there unless Boston, magically, get some great chemistry together. It's the Sixers even. I just don't see the Sixers having anyone to guard him. So having no one to guard Giannis you're not going to be able to stop him. So they still have shooters there in Milwaukee, but it's they have Planet Pat Connaughton. So, but it's going to be interesting to see how he does. I think Giannis first seed, a number one seed is a lock for him.
I definitely agree. I think he's still only 24.
I know, he's so young.
And he's trying to develop, a consistent jump shot. I think when he develops that, I think he's going to be even better. It's hard to even imagine him getting so much better with his wingspan and his already skill level, but they're just going to be a great team. I think they're going to make it through. Last year they were 2 games away. The Sixers are going to pose a great threat, especially, I don't know if you saw Ben Simmons hit his first 3 the other night.
Yeah, the fact that guy was the NBA Rookie of the Year, I still feel for Donovan Mitchell.
Same.
It's terrible because that man is not. He's I get he's a rookie. I get that he never played a minute, but you're still inside the organization. You understand. You're getting NBA concepts. You're getting to practice. You're getting to do all this stuff. No disrespect to Simmons at all, but Mitchell came in there on his first year. At a team that wasn't even that good with the Jazz, and so now he's able to. He's now one of the best young players in the NBA on the rise. They got to build some pieces around him, but it's tough to see how Simmons was able to win. I think that's garbage. I didn't agree with that at all. Where he won the award and then Mitchell's sitting there, a true rookie, and he doesn't even get any recognition for it.
I definitely agree. I actually thought he was supposed to win the Rookie of the Year back in the 2017-2018 season. He did get ripped off, to be honest. Ben Simmons had a great season. that year he averaged 17, 11, and 8, almost a triple-double, which was very impressive, and they went 52 and 30. But I just, when you look back at that, he shouldn't have. But he still is a great player, and he needs a jump shot. You're an NBA player. To be successful in this league, you need, especially nowadays, the way how Curry and Klay changed the game, you need a consistent jump shot. So I do think if he can get that, they will be more of a threat to make the finals. But until I see that consistently from him, I still have the Bucks, because I think the Bucks, Giannis, even though he doesn't have that great of a jump shot either, he's just so powerful driving. I don't believe no one's going to stop him.
Yeah, no, you're right. As Sean mentioned last week, the Sixers are the tallest team in the NBA on average, I guess. So, that only is going to help you so much. You're right. Simmons needs to develop a jump shot, and it looks like he has. Sam Hinkie, when he was with the Sixers, he said trust the process. He got Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz was an absolute bust.
Yeah,
so that's 2 dudes who can't shoot. So it's he's down with the Magic now. So Fultz is gone. Simmons is finally, if he's finally developed a jump shot, then yeah, I'll give him credit for what he's done.
Well, we got to see. It was only one shot.
One shot. It was some Curry range though, man.
Yeah,
it was not.
He looked confident too.
Yeah, smooth.
He had a little swag going after he made it.
Right.
I'm excited for those 2 teams. I do think those will be definitely the top 2 teams in the East. And I just got to go with the Bucks because even though, like you said with Sean's point, Sean was right last week when he said Joel Embiid is the best center. He is the best big man in the league. And but he still has a question mark. Can he stay healthy? We have not seen Joel Embiid play a full 82-game season. He is great. He is amazing, but that's my biggest question mark. Until I can get that answered, I got to go with Giannis.
Right. I have to go with the Bucks as well because I think they have only lost a few pieces and they've gained a few as well. Not to the same extent as what they were last year, but they've stayed consistent. They're like the only teams that haven't changed. Like the Pacers have picked up a few guys, but the Raptors, no offense to them, but they lost Kawhi, who was their offense. I just can't see them. As much as I love Kyle Lowry, I just don't see him being like the offensive playmaker that he needs. Like he's like Kyle has always been like the Robin to a Batman with like DeMar, when now Kawhi, and now he doesn't have anyone, so now he has to be the Batman. It's interesting to see. I hope the Heat might be like a dark horse that you could see.
So, Jimmy?
Yeah, so Jimmy Butt and Jimmy Butler and then Tyler Hero, man. Like I watched him last night. He was smooth. Like they had all these problems that they were saying that where he was, not a good enough guy to put on the floor and drive. I mean, he was slashing in the basket, but he's a shooter, man. Like that's what he came for. So that
was definitely a good draft pick. And I think it's going to be tough, post Dwayne Wade now. But Jimmy Butler, he's definitely going to do his thing. He's going to be a good player. But also, is he really a championship leader, though? I can't say Jimmy Butler being the best player on a team will win you a championship. I think, after his stint with the Timberwolves in Philly, I don't know why he didn't re-sign. Him, Tobias, on Philly, that was just a great team. Ben Simmons, Tobias, Joel Embiid, and him. But I do think they'll make the playoffs. I just can't see him winning a championship in Miami.
Yeah, and I think he wanted his own team. So he comes down here to a younger Miami. They let Haslam go. He's off in Portland now, and so it's interesting to see now they have Josh Richardson, I believe, is gone. So now they really just have Hero. They have Dragic there, the point guard from Phoenix they got, and it's just going to be his team. You're going to wonder who, Deion Waiters is probably going to be your guy who shoots that last shot. I just don't see Jimmy being that guy, who shoots the game winner. Kind of like a Carmelo, type deal, but. That team's young. I have hope for them. I think they're good. I was kind of hoping they, I really thought they were going to beat us out last year in the playoffs. When they were, when the Pistons were tanking down. I was getting scared. I'm checking the standings every night.
I agree. I thought some refs were getting ready to rig it because they knew it was Dwayne Wade's last year, so they were just like, we need Wade in the playoffs. I know
they had to throw him in there. But it's just another team you're going to have to watch for. But the East is definitely not as strong as the West.
No. I think it's definitely still competitive, especially with all the moves, but I don't think it's as competitive as the West. But the Heat, that is another team. And also a team I want to talk about, I think the Pacers are going to be good. Last year they got swept by the Celtics, but they were without Victor Oladipo, who was having an amazing year before, he had that devastating injury which ended the season. But I think the Sixers are going to make, some moves. Hopefully Miles Turner can finally get all the way to his full potential. That's a team that I think that's still another second round team, but that is a team who could make some noise, I feel like.
Yeah, and they get Brogdon in a trade, and a healthy Victor. I love Victor. I think he's a stud, but health is a concern for him. They get Brogdon. They have Warren. They have Sabonis, back. He's going to be healthy. He had some ankle injuries towards the end of the year, but it was so tough to see. Like they were tied for the third seed. And then he goes down, and you're just watching a team fight, so they don't, they don't lose their spot. They're slowly sliding down. I would definitely think that having Victor back, getting Brogdon, who is a good young player.
Yeah, he was Rookie of the Year back in 2017.
Right, he was Rookie of the Year. Not a lot of people know that, but he was playing on such a good team in Milwaukee that you have to sit behind Middleton and all that. So, it'll be good to see. I'm sure he'll fit in at a better spot here in Indiana.
I definitely agree because now he's getting more of an opportunity. Not saying he didn't get it in Milwaukee, but with Giannis, he was who's never going to get really a chance to showcase like everything. So I think it's going to be great. I think they'll probably be a 4 seed. The Pacers are going to be a very good team. They'll make the playoffs and make a little bit of noise. They're still not going to be a threat to like win it, but Oladipo's going to get them. That's honestly another team, like we said with the Pistons. They're one guy or maybe 2 guys away from, getting another star caliber player where they can make a push, deep. Until that happens, I just don't think they are. And that is all we have today, NBA and NFL. Good talk with Barrett. Tune in next Friday to hear us talk more NBA and NFL.
All right, thanks, guys.